Hello, my name is Tom Hayes. I'm Director of Customer and Community Relations for New Jersey Natural Gas Company and your host for today's TV show, Community Connections, which focuses on organizations in the Monmouth and Ocean County areas. Today, we're very pleased to have with us Jhanna Even, who's the Director of Development at Harbor House, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about some of their programs and services. So welcome, Jhanna. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Certainly. I know we've known each other for years. I know through different circles like Monmouth Ocean Development Council and the like that you're very involved in the community, and it's great to know that you're at with this wonderful organization. So would you tell me a little bit about Harbor House and tell our audience about Harbor House and what makes it unique?
Sure. Harbor House was established in 1985, and our mission is to serve runaway, homeless, and abandoned youth in central New Jersey, Monmouth and Ocean counties, from the ages of 10 to 21. We provide shelter and supportive services for youth in a nurturing and loving environment where they can reach their potential and learn to lead productive lives. What makes us unique is we're the only agency in the area that's open 24/7, 365 days a week. We're a voluntary organization, and all of our services are offered free of charge. Wow. We also serve youth from every background, race, religion, sexual orientation, so anyone is welcome to use our services.
Wow, that's incredible. What an important need that you're filling there, because that is a tough, I'm sure, clientele to work with on a regular basis, right?
It is.
So what services do you provide, and really who is your target population?
We provide a continuum of care for homeless youth, and it starts with our street outreach program. We have teams of 2 counselors that go out in a mobile van, and they go to areas where homeless teens congregate, such as outside of movie theaters, skate parks, and malls. And we provide the services to them. We hand out food and clothing, toiletries, we provide resource and referral information, and we provide them transportation to our shelter if needed. Now, these are very vulnerable youth. Some of them have been living on the streets, or they've been couch surfing, and they're prone to victimization because they don't have stable living environments. So this kind of outreach program takes the stigma out of asking for help by going to them directly. And in the last year, our staff has handed out resource cards with information about our shelter and our other programs that I'll be talking about in a minute, as well as other social service agencies. They handed out to close to 7,000 youth on the street. And since the inception of the program, which started in 1996, they have had direct contact with close to 80,000 youth. Now, unfortunately, due to loss of grant funding, our program has suffered significantly this year. Our street outreach hours have gone down from 44 hours a week down to 16. And my role is to enhance our funding through varied funding sources so we can increase the hours on the street and reach that vulnerable population that we serve.
Wow. Yeah, very important, critical.
Yes.
Well, we got the right person. You know?
Thank you, Tom.
Which is great. But yeah, obviously a very important need. And just for some of our audience that might not really understand what couch surfing means, can you give us a little idea of the explanation of couch surfing? Sure.
A lot of our kids aren't necessarily homeless in the sense that they live on the street, but they don't have a home. Couch surfing means they go from place to place, from a friend's house, an uncle's house, various people, and they don't have a stable living environment. They've either been thrown out of the house, they've been abused at home, they have issues where they can't remain in the home, but they're too embarrassed to ask for help, so they go from place to place and just don't have a stable living situation.
Right, gotcha, great. So how do youth who need your services actually access your facilities?
Well, actually, I just wanted to get back to talk about our shelter, because after the street outreach, we have our shelter program where youth can stay for up to 30 days. It's an emergency shelter, and we serve ages 10 to 19. The youth get food and clothing, shelter, and they get counseling services as well. They have a very intensive counseling program there. Through that program, we also have a family crisis intervention unit where families meet with the counselors for 6 to 8 weeks to try to avert going to the shelter. And it acts as a court diversion program for youth that could possibly be going into the juvenile facility. They have case management through this program and work with counselors to try to deter them from going to jail.
Gotcha.
And our last program is our transitional living program, where older youth, ages 16 to 21, can live for up to 18 months, and they learn life skills. They have to get a job. They have to work 20 hours a week if they go to school, or 40 hours a week if they don't go to school, and they have to put away 50% of their earnings into a savings account. So when they leave the program, they have a nice nest egg to get started.
Right.
So those are our three basic programs. In terms of getting in touch with us, our main hotline shelter number is 732-996-0660. So if anyone knows of a youth in Central Jersey that needs emergency shelter, please call us right away. That hotline is staffed 24/7.
That's excellent. So anybody that might know somebody, or the individual themselves, right? The youth could call that hotline.
Absolutely.
Anybody can call that hotline to get that assistance.
Absolutely. And in terms of how people find us, it's mostly through referrals, through schools, social service agencies, parents, and the youth themselves.
Wonderful. Well, it's remarkable. It's a lot of work that you guys do.
Yes,
really,
we do.
Really
Our programs are terrific.
That's amazing. So can you tell me about some of your success stories?
Sure. We recently had a really nice success story through our shelter program. Roy is 18 years old, and he's lived with his family, but his father was extremely abusive. But Roy never wanted to report his father to the authorities, to social services. At one point a few weeks ago, things got very bad. They had a bad fight, and his father threw him out and wouldn't let Roy take any of his belongings. He had a car, he had clothing, everything. Because Roy was too embarrassed to ask for help, he slept in a friend's car for 4 days until he finally told the school what was happening. The school referred him to our shelter. He was able to come to our shelter, and then eventually was moved to our transitional living program, where he's currently residing. So we were able to help Roy and move away from living in his car to a shelter, and now he has a program where he can stay for up to 18 months and learn life skills and get back on track.
Right.
And he was able to actually get his car back, which was really nice. So now he has transportation, and that's very important for the kids. So
that's got to be tough. I mean, leaving your own home because you're being abused by your own parent.
Absolutely.
And leaving all that behind is really got to be difficult. So.
It's tough, and it's tough for the kids to ask for help a lot of times, and I'm glad that Roy did. That he reached out to.
Oh, that's great. That is important. And again, that's what this program is really about, is getting this kind of information out to our community and out to our audience, so that you never know. It may not be yourself, but it could be a neighbor, could be a friend, could be anybody that you run across. And it's nice to know that these programs exist.
Absolutely.
And where to direct people for this kind of help and these kinds of services. Very important, very critical.
Yes.
Where does Harbor House get its funding?
We get most of our funding through local, state, county, and government grants, and as many organizations have experienced, grant funding has severely decreased, and that's why we're trying to expand, to diversify our funding through reaching out to corporations, to private foundations, and individual giving, major gifts. And again, that's where I come in, and that's what I'm currently working on, to try to get our name out in the community and promote our programs. One of the programs that we are having, it's Sleep Out for homeless youth. We're asking the community to support us and show solidarity with our youth by sleeping out for one night at our transitional living facility in Toms River, and we're asking them to raise funds as well, and we're also seeking sponsors. We're also fortunate enough to be involved with the Ocean First Challenge, which has challenged organizations to fundraise through the CrowdRise fundraising platform.
Right.
And the organization that raises the most amount of money from April 14th through May 9th will get a chance to win an additional $10,000. So we're hoping that we're that organization that wins that money. And so if anyone wants to get in touch with us and wants to fundraise through this platform, they would go to www.crowdrise.com/ Facebook.com/Harbor House Sleepout, and starting April 14th. So we would really appreciate the support.
Nice.
If anyone would
Okay.
like to do that. We also do a bike tour, that's a bike race that's 4 days and 400 miles. It's in its 17th year, and we have a bunch of riders who've been riding for years and support us and raise funds for us that way as well.
Yeah, I think we have some folks at the gas company that
Yes,
that
that's right.
ride in that. Yes,
That's
we've been
right.
supporting that for many years.
Larry
It's great.
Downs has done that, yes.
Yes, that's who's our CEO, so that's pretty
That's right.
impressive.
Yes.
That's great. So it's obviously great the programs that you do and all your work on. It's really amazing. And again, any of this kind of fundraising is important. So again, hopefully our audience will hear that message and reach out and go onto that website, because you do have to go onto the CrowdRise website,
yes,
in order to make those contributions, right?
Yes.
For it to count to the program.
Yes.
I know a lot of people want to say, oh, can I send a check or whatever, but you really need them to go through that.
Yes,
in order
this way
for it
we
to
get
count.
credit. Yes,
Yes.
And if anyone wants to find out more about our organization, they can go to our website, www.oceansharborhouse.org.
Okay, great, which is wonderful. So that's great. Again, keep up the good work, because I know it's not easy.
Yes.
Now, where does Harbor House see itself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
We'd like to serve more kids in a better fashion. Our program is relatively small. We have 12 beds in our shelter and 12 beds in our transitional living program. So in 5 to 10 years, we'd like to expand that and serve older kids, youth, 18 to 23, because what we're finding now is we have a waiting list of the older youth, because the state puts a restriction on the number of 18-year-olds and older that can stay in our programs with the younger kids. So if we had a program that just served that population, there wouldn't be any restrictions on the time.
I see.
We would also eventually like to create services for mothers and children, and in 10 years' time, because homelessness, a lot of it is rooted in affordable housing, we'd like to eventually build affordable housing for youth that are aging out of the foster care system and will have nowhere to go and no services after they turn 18, where they can live in these homes. So we hope to do that in 10 years' time.
That's great. I do often find that double jeopardy for kids that have been in foster care all those years and sometimes bounced around a lot and all that, and then they become age 18 and they're just put out in the street. Is
Absolutely.
remarkable.
And
to
they
me.
have to fend for themselves.
Right, and you understand that the funding isn't there for everyone all the time, and decades ago, 18 years old was pretty mature, and you can go out and work on the farm, whatever it might be, right? And now, I mean, I have children myself, and when they were 18, there were no way were they ready to go out into the world by themselves. So I really feel sad for these.
Yes,
for
it's
these
daunting
kids.
for an 18-year-old to
Thank
go
goodness
out.
there's an organization like yours there that's really trying to help and support these kids and give them a place to go, so they're not, totally on the street like that. So that's really great. Now, how can people get involved with Harbor House if they want to reach out to you and maybe volunteer or make some other donations outside of the CrowdRise offer and all that?
Yes, well, we'd love, if anyone wants to get involved in our fundraising committees, like the 2 events that I mentioned, the Sleep Out and the bike tour, please call me at 732-929-0096. And again, I wanted to reiterate the shelter hotline. It's open 24/7. If you know of a kid who needs help, please call us at 732-929-0660. And because our work is very labor and time intensive, our main goal is to raise more money, and we do need to diversify our funding and to get us to the next level. So any support that we can get from the community is much appreciated.
That's great. Well, I really, I appreciate your being here. You've really enlightened all of us on some really important information for our community, for our youth that really need this kind of help and support. So I really do thank you for that time. And I wish you luck with Harbor House. I know it's a great organization, and you're doing great work, and really continue to do that. I know I got to meet Jerry the other day, and he's a wonderful guy, your executive director.
Yes, he is.
I know you do great. Well, we'll be taking a short break, but we'll return in a few minutes after this important message. Thank you.
Make your home more energy efficient with the New Jersey Natural Gas Save Green project. Take advantage of rebates and incentives up to $15,000. Replace your inefficient HVAC system and upgrade to high-efficiency equipment. Reduce air and duct leaks and install proper insulation. Call Save Green at 877-455-NJNG or visit SaveGreenProject.com and learn how you may qualify for up to $15,000 in rebates and incentives. Call 877-455-NJNG.
Welcome back to Scan's Community Connection. I'm your host, Tom Hayes, and with our second guest for the day, and that is the lovely and talented Carol Wolfe, who's the Executive Director of Dottie's House, and she's going to be telling us a lot about this wonderful, wonderful program. So thank you for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
I've known you for several years. I know the great work that you do with this organization, just in the community at large. So, you know, it's really an honor to have you here with us today. We appreciate that.
We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Certainly. So I guess maybe you'll start with our folks. I know what Dottie's House is, but they don't. So can you tell us a little bit about what Dottie's House is about?
Yeah, Dottie's House is a long-term transitional housing facility that provides program services for women and children who've survived domestic violence. The unique thing about Dottie's House, there are many unique things, but in particular that we allow them to live in their own apartment, all under one roof, for 2 years. And that makes us one of only 2 programs in the entire country, according to the United States Department of Justice, that provides this type of services for that length of time.
Wow, it's great, and I've seen the facilities,
Yes.
and you do an amazing job, and it's so nice to see that these women have a place that is safe and clean and comfortable and very homey, that, you know, for themselves and their children, even more importantly, right, for their children to have a stable home to come home to and all that. So you really do a remarkable job. And how long has Dottie's House been in the area?
We 15 years this year. I cannot believe it. Yeah. And we originally started with 8 apartments, and then we were turning people away, and we expanded it to 17 apartments now. They're all 2 and 3 bedroom apartments.
Nice. That's great. So tell me, what was the inspiration for starting Dottie's House?
There was a week or 2 in the late 90s when I read about every day in the local newspaper about acts of domestic violence. And the last one I read was where a man killed his wife and then killed himself, then left his 2 children as orphans. So I started to reach out to other 180 and Providence House and ask about their programs and what they did. And I did some research, and I decided I wanted to do something different. I wanted each person to have their own apartment and replicate living like you and I do. Because most of these women have never been allowed to make a decision about anything, including parenting. And I thought long-term to give them that opportunity with staff on site and parenting classes and other programs to help them that within 2 years they could go out on their own and be emotionally and financially independent and never have to go into a relationship because of need rather than choice.
Right. You know, the beauty of this whole Community Connections program is that we do have the opportunity to enlighten our audience about the different programs that are out there. Most of us go through life in our own little world and in our own little family life, and you know, if we're doing fine, we assume everybody else is doing fine, but as you know, that is not always the case. And thank goodness it's not, you know, an overwhelming population that is having these problems, but there is a population that is having those problems, and those are the folks we really need to help. So it's great that you're doing that program, and I'm happy that we can share that with our audience so that they get a better understanding of some of the issues that are going on out there. You know, again, we take a lot in this life for granted, but it's nice again that you're focusing on the folks that really are having these tough issues. So,
Yeah, they do.
bless you for that.
Thank you.
So I guess, you know, the goal and the mission for Dottie's House is sort of, you've explained that a little bit, but can you go into that a little bit further, your goal and mission?
Yeah, it seems like from the experience we've had and from talking to other people that people who are victims of domestic violence generally have been abused as children in some way or another, either by their siblings or their parents. And so they're comfortable, we're all comfortable and not comfortable with change. And so they seem to get comfortable with a person who is abusive because that's what they're used to. So breaking that cycle is what our goal is, teaching them what acceptable behavior is and what is not acceptable and what they. And then, most of all, we try to teach them to reach inside of themselves to realize their own strength and power that we all have, but sometimes you're beaten into submission and you don't believe you're capable of doing anything. That's the biggest goal. And then the long-term goal is the next generation, hopefully, will not grow up to do the same things that they were with when they were growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. it's like most issues in this world. If we can stop it and keep it from happening in the future, we'll have accomplished wonderful things, right?
Yes, yes.
So how many units are in the Dottie's house?
We have 17, 8 2-bedrooms, 8 3-bedrooms, and 1 1-bedroom. Every apartment has its own washer, dryer, fully equipped kitchen, living room, bedrooms. Everything is furnished by donations from the community.
Wonderful.
And the community encompasses more than our immediate area. It encompasses the whole southern portion of New Jersey.
Right.
We get organizations, as you know, organizations that support us and help us, but the individuals are the ones. People come to us sometimes with boxes of diapers, and they are needy themselves, but they're willing to give. So I think we're very fortunate. We live in a very generous community.
Which is great,
Yeah.
which is great. And unfortunately, with funding cuts and all that, there's always a
Yes.
need for more, right? I mean, it's sort of an unfortunate thing about society that we, just budgets and economy and all that sort of thing affect everyone, including our nonprofits.
Absolutely.
So, but it is nice that you get that outpouring. And again, if our audience wants to help out, is there a number or anything that they would be able to call if they were looking to donate, or maybe even do you take volunteers and all
Oh,
that?
we need volunteers. We
Right.
we also have a lot of interns from colleges, from Monmouth, from Glassboro, from all over.
Georgian Court, I
Georgian
would
Court,
imagine,
yeah.
community colleges and all
And
that.
they're wonderful because they're so enthusiastic, and they
Yeah.
kind of refresh us a little bit too.
Which is great, because you're
about our
really,
mission.
as much as they're helping you, you're helping us as a society, because you're helping these kids, these young people, really get an understanding of what life can be about with outside of their realm of what they're used to, and they see that, and they grow up to be adults that have a better appreciation for issues with others, right?
Absolutely. The children come in, generally they're either very outgoing, running and screaming in the halls,
Right.
or they're introverts. They cannot make eye contact.
Right.
And to watch the children change
That's great
is
too,
the
yeah.
reward. And they bond, and when they leave, they really have a hard time, and they come back and visit us. And so they're learning about relationships
Right,
of all
right.
kinds.
So you were going to tell me the phone number, the
I'm
contact
sorry,
number.
732-262-2009. And if it is an emergency and by any chance no one answers that phone, we have another emergency number that's given out at that point.
Okay.
And we have wonderful cooperation from the police, from every municipality in the county. If there's a problem, they refer and bring them to us.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
that's great, that's important. Now, I know you have a flyer here about Dottie's house.
Yes.
I know that has your information in there and all that, so folks could always call for that flyer or get that. Could they get information on your website
Oh,
as
yes,
well?
yes.
And your website?
It's www.dottieshouse.org.
Wonderful.
DOTTIESHOUSE.org.
Wonderful.
And in addition to all the information about Dottie's House, we have information about our fundraising events, which you know very well
Yes,
about.
right. of
And
course.
so that's how we get support from the community,
Sure.
in addition to the donations.
Right.
The ones that pay for the electric and the water and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Now, how has the surrounding community responded to Dottie's house in terms of, I know sometimes when it's a shelter and that sort of thing, sometimes your local community can be tricky to work with, but how's it
Yeah.
worked for Dottie's house?
When we first opened, we had one neighbor who objected strenuously. Actually, she went to Chancery Court in Toms River and was advertising the address, which is supposed to be confidential.
Yes.
But the good side of everything is when we went to expand and we went back to the planning board and the council, the neighbors came out in support of the organization and praised the organization, and were happy to have it there. So
Wonderful.
it worked.
It's a shame, sometimes people just don't get on board or
think it's
understand the
fear.
need. It is fear.
I
and
think it's
They
fear.
feel it's going to affect the neighborhood in some sort of
yeah.
negative way. When again, I've been to your facility. It's a beautiful facility. I think anybody should be happy and proud to have your organization in their neighborhoods, because you really run a tight ship and a beautiful. It's almost like a little like extended stay hotel. That's
Yes.
it's really that nice. I mean, which is important. And again, it's not over the top or anything, but
No.
it's really giving people a nice basic place to stay, and I think there's also that camaraderie amongst your folks that are there, that they have some support in the fact that they're around other people that have been through the same situations, right? And
Absolutely, that is so true, because we can talk to them and they look at us and the other staff members like we don't understand, we don't know, we haven't been through it. But when they have each other, then they feel comfortable that they're making progress, and they are.
Oh, that's great.
They're heroes.
Yeah.
These
yeah,
women are heroes.
Yeah, that's nice. That they've survived it, right? And they've dealt with it much more than most of us would ever have to
Yes.
deal with in
Oh,
our
yeah.
lives. And have taken this step and the responsibility to get their children out of that situation, which is
Yes.
often not easy, because these aren't necessarily, there's people from all different strata, right? You have
Yes.
folks from very wealthy situations
Yes.
that, are afraid to leave their big, beautiful home, and the husband makes all the money and all that sort of thing, and now they've got to leave that just to protect their children and all that, and they do that. That's not an easy thing to do.
No, it isn't. The other thing that we've done, which I'm very happy about, is DIFUS very often will take children from a home when police report incidents, and we reunite the moms. We give them housing, and they get their children back.
Right.
And that's very rewarding.
That is rewarding. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's great. You got to feel good about that.
Yep.
I think we should call you Saint Carol.
No, no, no.
Now, could you explain some of the challenges that you feel are out there in continuing the operation at Dottie's house?
Well, the challenges are financial,
Funding,
naturally.
yeah.
That's the most obvious. But I think that all of us know someone who is a victim, although we may not know that for a fact that person is a victim. But 1 out of 4 women will be a victim at one time or other in her lifetime. It starts now. It's starting in 6th grade. In fact, we were instrumental in having legislation adopted in New Jersey requiring dating relationship curriculum from 6th to 12th grade in all the schools.
Excellent.
They're important to get to them early, to get to them to see what is and isn't acceptable.
Right,
That's
right.
what's important.
That's great. That really is great. Now, I guess if you would mind, do you have a success story that you might be able to tell us about?
Oh, I have lots of them.
Many of them, but okay.
Well, we had a woman who we had a fundraiser last night, and she came to us about a year ago, and her husband had moved her and her children to Poland, which was his home, and isolated them from all family and friends, which is the pattern. And she finally got someone, his sister actually, to give her the money for a plane ticket. And she and her children left, telling him they were just going to come back and see her family. And she came. She had no one. She had no money. She reached out to the social services. They referred her to us. She's been with us a year. She doesn't even look like the same woman.
Wow.
She's gone to school. She has a full-time job. She's doing a wonderful job. She's got her children in parenting classes. And it goes on and on.
Amazing.
So it works.
That's great.
It works.
Well,
But they have to do the work.
Right. Well, really, I want to commend you again, and you really, have you keep up that great work. I know you gave us the contact information, so if folks want to donate and all that, they can
Yes.
call that number and contact you about that, which is great. And I personally want to say thank you again for spending your important and valuable time with us to go over this information and let our folks really know that there's a great organization like that that exists for folks in our community. So again, Carol, thank you for your time. You do a great job there, and we wish you the best of luck in future endeavors there. And we appreciate your being here on Community Connections, and hope to see you, I'm sure I will, in the near future out there in the community.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us spread the word.
Thank you. Thank you.